Sometimes predators operate in the darkness, afraid to be seen, their silent, stalking steps haunting the depths of night. But this is not the story for all predators. Some hide in plain sight. This was the case with the British radio and TV personality known as Jimmy Savile, a regular character on TV screens in British homes for almost half a century. But how could a man with that much exposure commit the multitude of violent, sexual crimes that he did? And how did these crimes only surface after his death? Buckle up. It's time we got to know a man whose heinous crimes forever eroded the reputation of a generation of TV personalities, and one of the most prolific predators in recent British history. James Wilson Vincent Savile, more commonly known as Jimmy Savile, was a British television and radio personality born on October 31, 1926, in Leeds, England. Savile grew up in a working-class family. He left school at the age of 14 and began working a series of odd jobs, including as a miner and even a professional wrestler. During his early career, he leveraged his working-class upbringing to appeal to the masses. Tired of stiff, well-spoken TV personalities, generations of Brits were enamored by Savile's rough-cut charm and his novelty persona. Savile first gained fame in the 1960s as a disc jockey on Radio Luxembourg, and later became a well-known television presenter, hosting popular programs such as Top of the Pops and Jim'll Fix It. He was known for his flamboyant style, bleached blonde hair and thick gold jewelry, along with his catchphrases that were quoted up and down the country. However, not everything that Savile said on air was quite as playful, as you will soon find out. In Savile's career, the most troubling of all of his on-screen positions was his time on Jim'll Fix It, a show that ran from 1975 all the way until 1994. On the show, Savile would be contacted by thousands of children, asking him to fulfill their wishes and appear on the episode. The proximity to children and the innate power over them that this role gave Savile allowed him to abuse them at will, and it is rumored that thousands suffered abuse at the hands of Savile and others on BBC premises. At the time, several celebrities and producers came forward to authorities and BBC higher-ups in an attempt to report Savile for the misbehavior they had witnessed, but all reports were waved away. They were unwilling to believe that this man, who had become a British TV institution, could be guilty of such crimes. In addition to his television and radio work, Savile was also known for his charitable efforts, raising around £40 million for good causes through his various fundraising efforts. These projects protected Savile in a way that nothing else could. They allowed him to buy an appearance of morality and, more disturbingly, buy access to hundreds of vulnerable victims. "I'm a volunteer helper," Savile was captured saying during his time volunteering at hospitals like Stoke Mandeville and Leeds General. "Sometimes, when no one is watching, I help the women." While volunteering at Leeds General, Savile sexually assaulted a brain-damaged girl who was completely unable to defend herself or report the crime. However, Stoke Mandeville was where Savile was at his most prolific. Over 60 men and women reported sexual assaults by Savile, including an 11-year-old cancer patient. Savile was also made the governor of a psychiatric hospital, given keys to the wards and his own room in the facility. One can only imagine the deviant acts that he committed at the hospital, victimizing the extremely vulnerable inhabitants. "I'm feared in every girls' school in the country," said Savile multiple times when interviewed throughout his career. This couldn't have been more true, especially at Duncroft Girls' School for the Emotionally Disturbed. Who would have guessed that Savile himself was the most emotionally disturbed to walk the halls, having assaulted 46 students, including one in the principal's office. Despite his brazen comments about his criminal behavior, Savile was widely respected and admired, especially in circles of influence. He was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1990 for his charitable work on advice of the then Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Savile had managed to infiltrate the highest echelons of society, rubbing shoulders with royalty, government ministers, and even the Pope. This power allowed Savile to exercise total control over his victims. Even if they were believed by their families and friends, there was no way that the authorities would take claims against one of their own seriously. They say when a clown moves into a palace, he doesn't become a king. The palace becomes a circus. However, Savile managed both. He was an untouchable celebrity loved by all, presiding over a kingdom of lies. But sooner or later the truth must come out. Following Savile's death in 2011, hundreds of allegations of sexual abuse against him emerged, leading to widespread shock and outrage. It is estimated that he sexually abused over 500 people, including children as young as 8 years old. The full extent of Savile's crimes may never be known, as many of his victims were too afraid to come forward or were not believed when they did. However, the revelations about his crimes sent shockwaves throughout the UK and beyond, leading to an outpouring of outrage and calls for justice. Despite the numerous allegations against him, Savile was never charged with any of the crimes he was accused of. He was able to evade justice for decades, thanks in part to his fame and connections. However, his legacy has been forever tarnished by the revelations of his horrific crimes, and he will be remembered as one of the most sinister and depraved individuals in recent history. The impact of Savile's crimes on his victims cannot be overstated. Many have suffered lasting trauma and have struggled to come to terms with the abuse they suffered at the hands of someone they trusted. The revelations about Savile's crimes also had a significant impact on the public's trust in celebrities and those in positions of power, and led to calls for greater accountability and protection for vulnerable individuals. Operation U-Tree, the main investigation that followed the Savile revelations, rooted out more repeat offenders at the top of British TV and media. Children's TV presenter Rolf Harris, pop star Gary Glitter, and DJ David Lee Travis were all arrested in the wake of Savile's crime. In the years since Savile's crimes were revealed, there have been numerous investigations and inquiries into his activities, and steps have been taken to ensure that such abuses of power can be prevented in the future. We hope you enjoyed this video on the crimes of Jimmy Savile. Don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe for more content. Click the link in the description if you want to know more about Savile and his disturbing crimes, and let us know which criminal you'd like to see next.